I'd like to invite Tom up one more time to give some thanks and greetings.
Thanks, Joe. People, Donna Pratt did the wonderful programs that you see tonight. We really stepped it up this year in the program. Ricky on the sound. Thank you, Ricky. And all of the wonderful performers. And Ann Leonard organized all of the visual art. Thank you to her and all of the visual artists who are listed on the back of your program. Peter and Kathleen Beskehausen and Betty did all the table setting up. And once again, Jan organized the food crew with some help. Thank you, Jan. And thank you for all of you who helped. And finally, to the Master of Ceremonies, Joe Burdell. Great job organizing. And I'll turn it back over to him for our last number.
Thank you, Tom Bunch.
How about Tom Bunch? Dara Montgomery, she likes to be called Dara, or Dee, in case you can't remember it. So, Dara, come on up. Now you get to see the entire team at work. By the way, just for the point of letting you know who's doing the sound tonight, in the back there is Ricky Tutan. And Ricky, of course, you know him as the intern from Pima College, who's working behind AV and doing a great, great job. This is the shirt. Let me get it down to. Oh, yeah. Wow. You shrunk since rehearsal.
So this song I'm just dedicating to my parents.
The same mistakes that you did, I will not let myself cause my heart so much misery. I will not break the way you did, you felt so hard. I've learned the hard way to never let it get that far. Because of you, I never strayed too far from the side. Because of you. Because of you.
Next young man. Aha! Never put it in your pocket. Next young man, we've heard him for the first time last year. Playing violin. He's back again. Said Bardine, come on up.
I just wanted to take a minute to acknowledge Saeed's violin teacher, Shen, who's with us here this evening. A few of you went to the President's Concert at the U of A recently and heard Nino. Well, Shen also performed. And he'll be performing in Carnegie Hall in December, and so watch for him. He's a talented viola player.
Iowa. What do we think of when we think of Iowa? Did he have a meeting? Did he have a meeting before this? We think of more corn. Thank you very much. We think of people sitting there trying to find, what am I going to do today? I'm going to write poetry. No?
Yes.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, Warren Reinecke and his wonderful published poetry.
It's published right here. like to say thanks to Joe and Tom and the planners of the talent show for a chance to read a few of my poems. This is a later life pursuit for me, taken up since retirement. I hope you enjoy it. To stay on script and on time, I will be using these notes. If you feel a silent wave is appropriate, please save it till the end. Joe's got me on a tight leash. I truly believe that we all, every single one of us, have the makings of being a poet. We all take inspiration from the ordinary. We all appreciate the wondrous sounds of words. We all admire the elegance of comparisons, irony, coincidence, serendipity, and perhaps, best of all, puns and humor in general. I also believe that we have a muse, all of us, that inaudible voice of simply knowing, which helps us all recognize these simple gifts and help us to blend them into compositions. Do you use an initial in your name?
Yes.
Do you know the origin of how your name was chosen? Here's the story behind mine. The poem is entitled Namesake. The first name given, last name family, middle name often a mere letter. What story lies behind the use of a letter name? Perhaps less said, the better. A single letter used as chosen name, left unknown as if enough was said. What character may be discovered there? What meaning might be read? Used initially, it may offer impression of distinction as first the letter name, or perhaps a grudging deference to conceal the one from whom it came. Is the letter name to honor a close friend or relative for whom one cared? Or hope to serve as talisman for someone idolized, a halo sought to share? What if one is assigned two first letter names, a nickname, we used to say, both names like one carried forth from youth even till this day? Yet another way to letter names be used, each with accent so reserved. Side by side, more as title, each letter uttered, some deference preferred. What if the letter name be ascribed in memory of one who could not be? A life stillborn, now in name becomes someone instead of he. We and some friends visited an old school building which had been completely converted into a department store for antiques. Join me in a tour. PS 44. Storied old abandoned school, now an emporium for antiques. First there for children, lessons learned for what was yet to come. Now here for grown-ups, tracing back a sense of things bygone. Classrooms become consignment shops, each a niche boutique. Listen for the echoes, sounds and sights of youth conveyed, hallway chatter, clambering upstairs, groaning wooden floors. Ghost bells ring, reminders of the time, heavy creaking doors, such poignant memories now through daydreams replayed. Well-worn steps, smooth railings, still here for them to hold, used first for youth in climbing up and now for stepping down, supporting those in search of familiar things they've known, valued as possessions, stirring stories for each now retold. The dated cornerstone contains some artifacts of its own time, a postscript for the future, now realized, objects in their prime. I don't know about you, but when I observe TV ads for wonder drugs, I wonder if you ever read the small print or hear the rapid patter of wonder drug side effects. Realizing that approved drugs undergo tests with control groups receiving placebos, Do these volunteers experience symptoms as well? Come and wonder with me. Side effects, spelled AFFECTS. Praise for those noble volunteers who submit to tests, helping to discover wonder drugs. We are in their debt. Those who risk imaginary placebo-induced side effects. Surely it's no wonder that some of them should endure a fine print maladies, indigestion, diarrhea, deliria, drowsiness, dizziness, and the group ill-fated to find a cure. Perhaps the oddest feeling of all, being driven hell-bent, the desire compelling them to operate heavy equipment. Several years ago, Nancy and I served as literacy volunteers at a small school near us here on the north side, and we dealt with kids who had minor reading issues. And we discovered a child who had something called oppositional defiant disorder. Well, as incredible as it sounds, we know two people who were the best of friends, both of whom have ODD, or odd. I entitled this The Odd Couple. You won't believe this, but it's actually true. Two elder cronies personify a comparing apples and oranges cliche. Although alike in kind, each one is unique, different as night and day. One is more colorful, a bit rough-textured, and a persona bittersweet. The other, though more polished, can be quite tart and prone to pique. Both are well known to be contrarians, argumentative to their core. Any common observation will elicit opposition, a wry chide in store. Either can easily provoke in the other a peevish perversity in kind. What ensues is repartee, leading each one on, witty retorts to find. No one would accuse either in this odd couple of portraying any tact. One may assume that they have agreed to disagree, that opposites attract.
Iowa, what a great state, I swear. It must be. Look what it turned out. Warren, and especially Nancy. The next gentleman is not from Tucson, Arizona. And he happens to be a person that's been here, Michael, how many times? 4, maybe? 3, 4 times? Is it Bainbridge? Yeah. Bainbridge, wow, I got it. Just outside of Seattle, right? And they attend, what's the name of the congregation there? Cedar?
Cedars.
Oh, well, you're going to tell us anyway. Michael is going to sing to you, and I'm just going to have him come up and sing, and he's going to talk a little bit about this tune that he picked and why he picked it and what it means to him and what it should mean to us, maybe.
I'm going to sing a song called Praise to the Spring in Chinese, without music. The song basically means spring is coming, birds are singing, sunlight charming, life big or small, rejuvenating. And since it's the season of stewardship renewal, so that's spiritual renewal, spring is coming. I have a lot of allergy, so 春天来了，阳光明，好山好水好风光，万物生机。
百鸟鸣啊，我的家乡实在美。万物生机啊，百鸟鸣啊，我的家乡实在美，实在美。
Wonderful, 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 wonderful. I'd like to translate that for you now. If I only could. How did you know? Anyway, I don't need to do any translating here because we don't use a mic. Oh, look at this. You will live. Joe Glenn came last year and played, loved it so much, and I said, why? And he said, the applause. I just love the applause. Anyway, Dark Eyes, Russian Love Song, Joe Glenn and Dark Eyes. Thank you, Joe. Thank you. This next person is like saying, Cher, or Sting. You know them by their that one first word. Ladies and gentlemen, Leon. You want to hold it?
It's set.
They can hear you.
You can hear me? Anybody who can't hear me, please raise your hand. Okay. Well, I wanted to talk about the place where I live and some of the characters who live there. And I wrote their names down so I wouldn't forget them. I live in independent living at the Fountains at Choya. The average age is 85. And the favorite dessert, one of them is vanilla ice cream with 4 prunes on top of it. The director asked one of the employees to take a census of the residents, broken down by age and sex, and give it to her in a short period of time. But a month passed, and she didn't get the census, so she went to the employee and said to him, "What happened?" Well, the employee said, "Every resident I spoke to said they were already broken down by age and sex." Governor Brewer came over and chatted us up before the election. And she was in the lobby talking to some of the folks, and she said, "By the way, do you know who I am?" And one of the ladies said, "Don't you worry, dear. You just go to the front desk. They'll tell you." My friend Steve is about as deaf as I am, and he sometimes mishears things. He was asking me, he was really desperate to get some turnabout. Turnabout? What's that? I finally discovered that he misheard somebody saying turnabout is fair play, and he thought it was foreplay. Steve, oh yeah, he's the guy that's younger than most of the others, and he just got remarried, and I asked him where he's going to take his honeymoon. Viagra Falls. Our age group has frequent doctor visits, of course. One of the most feared diagnoses is Furnicher's disease. You haven't heard of Furnicher's disease? Oh, that happens when your chest collapses and falls into your drawers. You're just not educated, that's all. I should tell you about some of these doctor visits. I guess it was Fred. He went to his doctor and asked him to lower his sex. Doctor said, "Lower your sex? That's the first request." "Yeah, it's all up here. I need it down here." I have an angry friend called Vern, and he was in his doctor's office. He was nude, lying prone on the examining table, and the doctor came in, looked at him, with a piece of string sticking out of his bottom. The doctor, "My God, a bunch of flowers. Where's that from?" So he looked around and said, "What do you mean, you stupid doctor? Read the card." And there's my friend Maisie. She went to her doctor and complained about passing gas. But she said, "I'm very discreet about it. As a matter of fact, since I've been in your consultorium, I've passed gas twice, and I'm sure you didn't realize it." Doctor says, "Okay, I'll write you a prescription." So he sat down and she said, "You're writing me 2 prescriptions. What's the other one for?" He said, "Hearing aids." Jenny's great-grandchild was visiting, and she ate some pennies and nickels. So Jenny rushed her to the emergency room, and they treated her, and the doctor came out. Jenny said, "No, what shall I expect?" So the doctor said, "Well, In a few days, you see some small change in the child's stools. Some of my friends have interesting life stories. Fred is in the furniture business, and he was on vacation in France. He was in Paris, as a matter of fact. Went into a bar, found a pretty girl. They sat down, had a drink. He spoke no French, she spoke no English, so they communicated by drawing. All of a sudden, she grabbed the paper and drew a bed. He said, "My God, how would she know I was in the furniture business?" And then there's Jack. He told me he'd like to die like his brother, peacefully, when he was asleep. But it was different for the three passengers in his car. Mickey had a job with a federal agriculture organization, and he was overseas interviewing a farmer. He found the farmer had 9 children. And he said, just to start a conversation, "My, you have a strong, big, healthy, what's the word? Progeny, yes." The farmer said, "No, it's only about that big." Well, I could go on for an hour, but Joan won't let me, but I just want to tell you one last story about Marie. When she was younger, she went into a pharmacy and she asked for some cyanide. The pharmacist says, "What? You want cyanide?" "Well, and why do you want cyanide?" "Because I want to poison my husband." "Poison your husband? Do you realize what that would cost you? What the trial would be like? And I'd be involved too." He went on and on. She reached in her purse and pulled out a photograph and put it in front of him. The photograph showed her husband in bed with the pharmacist's wife. The pharmacist stopped talking, thought for a minute, and said, "Why didn't you tell me you had a prescription?" Thank you.
Leon! Oh my goodness, Leon. I hope you're all coming back next year when Leon will have his next act. The next act, Cynthia and Rich, I've known for a few years. They were members of the same congregation, the Huntington Unitarian Universalist congregation on Long Island. And Cynthia, I watched her play piano and listened and thought she was an amazing musician. And Rich, I never saw him play anything in his life, but one heck of a social action person. So, Cynthia, is there anything that you would like to tell the audience?
There is. When I see our twins. Hello? When I see our twins, Minnie and Cora, in all their glory, it reminds me of when I was 4 years old. When my mother would sit down at the piano, I would beg her to play a special song over and over. I'm not sure if I knew what the words meant. I thought they were pretty silly. The song was published in 1908, composed by Harry von Tiltzer, and it's so old that in this song, cars were called motors. So that was way back. So ladies and gentlemen, for your entertainment, Richard and I are going to sing this song as soon as he gets ready. And we invite you to sing along on the third chorus. So, music maestro. Augustus J. McCann is a henpecked married man. He's been a fightin' with his wife since his married life began. One morn at 3:30, while out upon a spree, a motor knocked him down and out, and it nearly broke his knee. The chauffeur raised Mac's head. He said, "This man is dead." But when he said, "We'll take him home," McCann jumped up and said,
"Don't take me home. Please don't take me home. Tell me, what did I do to you? Oh, have a little pity, I'm a poor married man. In search of peace I roam. I'm with you in anything you do, but don't take me home."
McCann made such a fight that they locked him up that night. Next day he got 6 months in jail, and he said, "Now I'm in right." In jail there was no strife. He never saw his wife. He said that he'd be happy if he could stay there all his life. But after half a year, they said, "Get out of here." The jailer said, "We'll take you home." But Mac yelled out in fear,
Don't take me home. Oh, please don't take me home. Tell me, what did I do to you? Oh, have a little pity, I'm a poor married man. In search of peace I roam. Oh, I'm with you in anything you do, but don't take me home.
McCann became so sore that he ran off to the war. That war was like vacation time after all he'd fought before. He always led the fray, but he was shot one day. His comrades saw he couldn't walk, and they carried him away. Upon his cot he fell. The doctor said, "Well, well, we'll send this man home to his wife." Then Mac began to yell,
Oh, don't take me home. Please don't take me home. Oh, tell me, what did I do to you? Oh, have a little pity, I'm a poor married man. In search of peace I roam. Oh, I'm with you in anything you do, but don't take me, don't take me, don't take me home.
Richard and Cynthia. Wow, Richard, that was darn good.
Well, my heart's in it.
They told me they practiced 3 hours every night for the last 15 days. And he actually drank all the wine. So, oh, I'll get it. How do you do it? Push the button. There you go. So the next person we all know. Jane has been playing piano here for how many years?
Off and on.
Off and on? 7, 8 years off and on? Wow.
More on than off right now.
Yeah, I think so. And I think Jane actually gets best dressed of the night. Now, of course, Conrad's going to win too because, you know, he dresses up in a tuxedo. I don't know how many times I asked him for get me a drink, but anyway, may I present Jane Paul.
This is a piece. This is a piece by Enrique Granados, who was a Spanish composer. I just love Spanish music. And The Maiden and the Nightingale is we think Granados was modeling after paintings of Goya. He loved Goya. And this is from a collection of what he called Goyescas. But there actually is no painting of a maiden and a nightingale, so you just have to imagine one. And at the end, it's a sort of bird calls, and then at the very end, the bird flies away. And it's not a funny song, I'm sorry.
Wonderful. Wow. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a break right now. I invite you to come to the table, have a piece of cake, take it back to your seat, enjoy it, and we will be back within, I hope, 10, 15 minutes.